Hello there, welcome back to my channel. It's nice to see you again, and if we haven't met before, welcome. My name is Fernanda. And let's get real for a second. You probably have a few items in your closet that are in great condition, but that you never wear. Am I right? In fact, let's do a show of hands by hitting the thumbs up button in this video if that is the case. In fact, I'll go first because I certainly have a few. A lot of the times we choose to hold on to items that either don't fit us properly or that we don't like because they're in great condition. And we think, well, getting rid of this would be a complete waste. But if I were to come to your house today and pick that item out of your closet and say, hey, I will give you cash for this, would you still choose to hold on to it? My guess is that you wouldn't, because having cash in your hand to spend or save for whatever you want is way more valuable than holding onto an item out of guilt. So in today's video, I'm going to show you how you can create great listings so that you can sell those items in online platforms like Poshmark. And if you're new to my videos and my channel, then please subscribe. You can hit the diamond over here to do so. I make videos to help you create a wardrobe that you love without having to buy a million things to do so. And getting rid of those items that you don't like is a crucial first step. So please join us, hit that subscribe button, and let's get into it. Poshmark is an online marketplace primarily geared towards selling used clothing, but I've also seen other items in there such as shoes, accessories, and even some home decor. If you haven't checked it out before, I will leave you a link in the description box below so that you can do so. Because this is a fashion channel, I will be gearing some of the specifics in this video towards selling on Poshmark because that is the platform that I have personally found the best when it comes to selling used clothing and the one that has given me the best return on investment. But keep in mind that the concepts I'm sharing in this video are pretty universal and can be applied to any platform anywhere in the world or even any item that you want to sell. So keep that in mind if you ever need to adapt it to sell like a couch or something like that. The way I look at it, there are three key components to selling on Poshmark. A, you want to have great photos because that will increase the chances of a buyer actually clicking on your listing if they come across it. B, you want to make sure you have a great description because that will increase the chances of your listing appearing on search, but it will also increase the chances of the buyer just clicking buy now as opposed to having to ask you a question before they make a decision. And C, you want to make sure that you position your listing in front of as many buyers as possible. Now, this is going to change from platform to platform. Poshmark in particular has like a social media component and they have what they call parties, and that is an art to learn on its own. But for the purposes of this video, I am just going to focus on A and B because those are the key components that can be recreated for any other platform. The first element of a great post is capturing a fantastic photo of your item. And the key thing here is to make your photos look as good as possible so they generate interest, but not so difficult for you to produce that it becomes tedious or you don't even want to do it. To capture a great image, you need three basic things. You need a camera, you need great lighting, and a solid background if you can find one. Let's dive into each of those three. For a camera, a smartphone camera works great. Most of those are great these days, but you want to make sure you're doing two things. One, clean your lens before taking your photos. A lot of us are walking around with thumbprints on our lenses these days, and that will just not do for this. And second, you want to make sure that you're exposing and focusing your phone camera correctly. If you don't know how to do this on your smartphone, I will leave you a couple of links in the description box below of the most popular phones so that you can learn how to do that. But if I'm not leaving your phone, a simple search of like your phone model plus how to expose camera properly will turn a ton of results. When it comes to lighting, using natural light is really the cheapest and the simplest way to go here. In fact, I'm using natural light to shoot this video right now. But the key with light is that you want to make sure you position your item near the light, but not directly in front of it. So what does this mean? If you're shooting outside, you want to make sure that it's bright and sunny, but that your item is placed on open shade. So on the shade, but outside on a beautiful day. And if you're shooting inside, you want to make sure that your item is near a window, but not in front of a window. For example, my window is right here. You can even see the way that the light hits my hand right now, not here where my camera is. The same concept applies for artificial light, except that you want to make sure that the color of your light is white and resembles the daylight as much as possible. If you look at the light bulb, it should say daylight on the box. So essentially, if you get like a warm and fuzzy, cozy vibe from the light, don't use that because that will change the color of your item. You want to make sure that it is white, and you want to make sure that you're positioning it at a 45-degree angle from where your camera is. When it comes to your background, you want to make sure that it's the least distracting background as possible. Ideally, a solid white background, but if you can't find that, a solid background in a neutral color. Don't be using like a bright green or a brick or anything like that for photographing your items, because white will make sure that the colors show as realistically as possible in your image. Any bright color will reflect onto your item and it will change the way that the color looks in the photo. Now, when it comes to taking the photos, I personally prefer a combination of seeing the item on its own and the item on a model so that I can see how the item actually wears. So if you can, you want to grab a friend, you want to grab a family member and have them take photos of you modeling the item so that you can see what it looks like. The more ideas you give your buyer of how they can wear that item, the more likely they are to buy it. When you're shooting your photos, you want to make sure that you're shooting from multiple angles to give you as many options as possible. Now, don't be thinking that just you're going to take one photo and it's going to be perfect and that's it. You want to show the front of the item, the back of the item, as many angles as you can. And you also want to make sure that you give yourself options because this takes practice. Then once you have selected your favorites, a tiny bit of editing will make a world of difference and make sure that your photos are brought to the next level. Now, most smartphones come with editing software already in them, but if not, you can easily find a ton of free apps for your phone where you can do this. When it comes to editing, you want to start by cropping the photo to whatever size you want it. If you're using Poshmark, remember they only take square photos, or you can take your photos directly in whatever size you think you're going to need them, and then adjust the brightness and make it a little bit higher, and then adjust the shadows to make them a little bit lower, and that is it. Trust me, don't go crazy with the editing, and this will make your photos just pop and look as best as possible. Then select your favorite photo and make that your cover photo. On Poshmark, you will see that a lot of people choose to use the professional photos taken by the original retailer as their cover photo. And that is perfectly fine, but you want to make sure that you're including photos of your actual items so that the buyer knows what they're actually getting. Once you have your photos, the next thing is to write a great description. And as I mentioned before, a description serves two purposes. One, it makes your listing searchable, and two, it gives the buyer as much information as possible so that they feel comfortable buying it without feeling like they have to ask you a question first. The key thing here is to describe the item as if the person could not see it, and knowing that they cannot try it on. Here are a few points that your description should always include: the condition that your item is in, the brand, the size, and any fit details, sort of like runs large and this is wide. A brief description of your item, the colors that it is, the materials that it is made out of, and a mention of any flaws. And that one is super important and you never want to skip it. For example, like new Banana Republic Petite Small Women's Ruffle Skirt. Black with white spot print. 100% polyester. Skirt length is 14 inches, hits at the hip. Great with a pair of boots for fall or with white sneakers in summer. The model is 5'4" with a 28-inch waist. And in this case, because the item is like new, it doesn't have any flaws. But if there were any, I would want to mention those. And an extra tip, according to Poshmark, a description that is above 100 words long is 40 times more likely to generate a sale. So you want to make sure that you include as many words as you can in there without spamming the buyer, of course. And lastly, a great description would not be complete without a great listing price. The way to determine a great listing price for your items is to look at what other people are charging for similar items on the platform. This unfortunately has nothing to do with how much the item was when you paid for it or how much it was when it was new. So if you want your item to sell, look at what other people are charging for comparable items and then give it a price that is worth your effort but is still likely to sell. I hope this video was helpful to get you thinking of how you can make some money out of those items in your closet that are no longer serving you. And let me know in the comments below what platforms you guys use the most to sell your unworn clothing. And if you have used Poshmark before and you know the best tips to how to get your items to sell and how to make the most out of your parties, then please leave those in the comments below because we could all use them for sure. If you do like this video, then don't forget to give it a big thumbs up before you leave and share with a friend who might be able to make some money out of her unworn clothing. And if you're new, don't forget to subscribe. I'm here every single Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern, and I will see you next week. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.